What is up? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a hot minute. I moved back to my apartment in Los Angeles for school, which is why I have not uploaded in a while. I've been busy with, college getting started again, obviously online. But I have a couple exciting reviews to go through today. I decided to upload them as separate videos just because I like having a back catalog of lots of reviews. These are 3 Netflix movies. This is sort of part 1 of the 3 movies I'm going to be reviewing tonight. I'm going to talk about The Devil All the Time. So I watched this movie last week when it came out, and I'm just getting around to filming a review for it. I liked this movie quite a bit. I had some problems with it, and certain aspects that I had mixed feelings about, but let's start with the good stuff and, the great stuff. Tom Holland is excellent in this movie, and so is Robert Pattinson. Those are the 2 performances that really stood out to me. Oh, but the other the other one that really stood out was Dudley Dursley from the Harry Potter movies. I can't remember the actor's name, but he's in this movie as a preacher. He's excellent. But, man, I did not recognize him. He looks very different. So keep an eye out for him. See if you can spot Dudley Dursley in this movie. But yes, the performances were my favorite part of this movie. This is one of those movies that you can really tell was based off of a novel, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It feels like it is. It feels like there's a lot they're trying to fit into this movie, and I do think some of the pacing in terms of where they choose to invest time could have been rearranged a little bit, especially with the main character. I don't remember Tom Holland's character's childhood. I think there's too much time spent at that early point in time with his father. Even though that setup is really important, what happens when you have a child actor and then you switch actors and there's a time jump is you sort of start fresh because you need to connect with this new person who you're following now. And the fact that we spend at least half an hour with this child actor instead of Tom Holland, and then all of a sudden it's Tom Holland. You grow connected with this character, but it feels different when you switch him out. And I think you needed to get to Tom Holland sooner, because it hurts your connection with his character. Because even though, yes, you feel for him because you know what happened in his childhood, and that comes back later, that stuff's important, it's harder to connect to him on a personal level, because you swap the actors. That's something that always kind of bugs me, but here they just spend too much time with that child actor. Robert Pattinson isn't in this movie as much as I thought he would be, but he steals the show in every scene he's in. He's excellent. He's one of my favorite actors. But I already talked about him. Look at me finding a way to talk about Robert Pattinson again. I think my only real problem with this movie is pacing and how they chose to structure this narrative. Because, as I mentioned, they spend a lot of time with Holland's character as a kid, and there's a chunk of the movie in the second act that feels a little bit directionless, but once you get to the third act and all of the different plots converge, that last act is really exciting because of that. But the second act is a little bit muddled because there are quite a few plots going on in this movie with different characters and different stories that seemingly don't have any connection until the end. And like I said, once they connect, it gets really interesting. But if we could have had either streamline that or have them connect sooner, those would be my complaints. But overall, I really dig the tone of this movie. It's dark, a little bit somber. There are some really interesting themes in this movie that I think are going to take a second watch to fully appreciate. That's another thing. I kind of feel like I need to rewatch this movie before, in order to fully appreciate what it has to offer, especially thematically, because I believe there's a lot there. It's well directed, and the cinematography looks very good. Again, it's just a matter of where they choose to spend their time. Not that it's too long, just certain aspects of the narrative I think needed to be rearranged to make a more cohesive and interesting story. But hey, I like this movie. Definitely a recommendation if you're looking for something to watch. Tune into my other two videos. I'm going to be talking about The Social Dilemma and Alona. I just watched this movie. Elena. I'll look at Alona. I'll look up her name before I do the review. Holmes, the two other Netflix movies that I mentioned. So check those out. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.